Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast 103. I hope you're all having a beautiful weekend out there. It's March 19th, just a day away from the vernal equinox, the spring equinox, as well a couple days out from a very important Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday. So we'll be getting into all the esoteric parts to that with a gematria decode. I'll be breaking down a lot of key dates and information to be prepared for, so definitely make sure to have pen and paper so you're taking notes during this. And before we get going, make sure to get relaxed, get comfortable, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea if it's the morning, or a glass of wine, beer, or beverage of your choice. Take a deep breath, breathe out. It's going to be an amazing podcast. I appreciate every single one of you for joining. And just a quick introduction, if you are new here, welcome to the Wolfpack. And if you're waiting to get access to our Discord server, just go ahead and send me a direct message on Patreon with your Discord username and the last four numbers after that Discord username, and I will reply back in a Patreon message with your Discord server invite. As well, we're doing amazing with voting on the altcoins lately. I think we'll be getting into potentially 5 of them today. So really packed episode. We'll be getting into a lot, especially later when we're doing the TA. And I wanted to share another update, which is that I'm releasing a new decode here for the mastermind community next week. So stay tuned for that. I'm not really sure what to title it just yet. I've been calling it Sell in May, Walk Away, just for fun. But it's really going to be about the upcoming solar eclipse, which is near the end of April, on the April new moon, and to prepare ourselves for a very key date that I found into mid-late May. So you're not going to want to miss that, because it's adding even more strength and, confluence to decodes that I've been sharing with you guys over the past half a year. Anyone who's been following my work, you know that I've been talking a lot about this April and May eclipses, the solar eclipse that we're getting on April 20th and the May eclipse that we're getting on, the lunar eclipse that we're getting on May 5th, and how important they are for this year, especially for cryptocurrency. And we have a lot of developments going right now, a lot going on in the world stage. I'm aware in the exoteric that we have the coronation of the king on May 6th. So I'm sure that even plays a role into all of this. But anyways, I'll be getting into a lot of that on that decode that I'll be releasing early next week. I'm really excited to get that out to you. It's not going to be as in-depth and detailed and as long as the Super Bowl decode or any of that, mostly because you're mostly aware of a lot of these dates. I'm just sharing a new find with everyone, adding a little bit more explanation behind it all, especially for those who are newer to my work. So shout out to anyone who's new here. It really means the world to me to have your support, and I'm grateful for every single one of you. I almost forgot that it's been over 2 years now since I started my YouTube channel. I think I released my first video around the 2nd of March or something like that. My first video that I decided to throw up on YouTube because my private clients at the time were telling me to start a YouTube channel. So, there's the chaos at work right there, but I look at it as synchronism. And I usually look at April, and so the transition of April is around the time frame to celebrate the year of the channel. So we're pretty much right there at 2 years. And I know that there's been OG wolves that have been sticking with me since the beginning. And it really just means the world to me how far we've come and how much we've grown. And to see the community get closer to each other and friendships develop, and hopefully more meetups happening in the future. I would love to even organize maybe 1 or 2 yearly meetups, even if I have to go through the organization myself. I would love for it to become that someday. I really would love to bring more interaction to what we're doing here and just build and keep the family growing, keep the family at bliss, and more importantly, keep the family expanding consciously. That's really what this is all about. And as we're making more sophisticated moves in this market, whether it be directly in our crypto investments or it be in your business or whatever you have going on, what will you do with those finances as you accumulate them? You have to have that long-term vision. you know? And me and Logan over at Decode Your Reality, we've talked a little bit about this. And I think once we get through this phase B and into phase C of the next phase in this Wyckoff cycle that I've been talking about, that'll be a really good time to tailor your investment thesis towards the buyback, potentially what's to come into the fall time of September, October at the end of the Jubilee year, and then the outlook into recovery and what's going to happen when we have those, 1,000 point gains and a 10,000% gain on some of your investments that you made. Crypto has those opportunities. So I'm just saying it here, like if you're preparing yourself and you have a plan and that vision is built around, self-reliance and sovereignty and community, then you're really going to thrive once you have met your wealth plan goals and hit your targets. And that stuff is right around the corner, guys. That's only pretty much 2025 when we're going to be seeing the next buying climax for this market. And I know some people might not believe that because of the conditions of the economy and, there's a lot of doubt in it. But I've been teaching you for a while that Bitcoin moves on a solar and lunar cycle. And when we move into those solar cycles, we hit our bull runs, price discovery. And when Bitcoin hits price discovery, any altcoins that are around at that time go into price discovery. It is on a 4-year cycle, and last cycle was no different. We saw it happen identically to the last 2 cycles. Bitcoin hitting all-time high right there in Q4, and then exactly 1 year later, hitting a selling climax right there in Q4. And then off of that, going into automatic rally. And now that Bitcoin has gotten above 25,000, which was an almost 200-day resistance, I'll correct myself. It was an almost 300-day resistance. There is no argument behind this anymore. We have done what we always do. So I'm not saying this to be pompous or egoic. I'm saying this because I've been sharing it so far in advance with you guys. And there's a lot of people who don't believe it. And I'm not here to spread belief. I'm here to just show you the data that I'm seeing and the esoteric part to all of this, which is what's hidden and what we can all be able to, decode. I'm just here to show you the tools and the strategies and the eyes of decoding. This way you could apply it to what interests you. And I'm just showing you that if this cyclicality is so precise and almost predictable at this point, then it's making me stand firmly on the idea that once we get through the next Bitcoin halving, we will do what we always do, which is enter price discovery. Bitcoin will go above 70,000 and it will start to head most likely into 6 figures. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're taking it one step at a time. I just wanted to kick off this podcast with that, mostly because we're here at the 2-year mark on the channel, and a lot of new people are coming to my work from the Archaics interview, and I've been doing interview rounds lately, even with Rice TVX and Chad over at Open Your Reality. I'm going to be reconnecting with him again soon. We're getting a lot of people here, and they might not have heard the Shemitah Decoded video that I put out or the Jubilee Decoded, or they might not have been around when I was doing my first couple interviews with Coach JV back in like September, August of 2021, excuse me, 20, yeah, exactly, right around there actually. I think that was around my first time talking with Coach JV. It was into August of 2021. So it's been a minute, family, and some of you have been keeping track. A lot has unfolded, and here we are. We are at the automatic rally phase for this market, confirmed as of a couple weeks ago for Bitcoin, and it's in its process for Ethereum. I know XRP is really kind of just coiling up. I shared a tweet over on, obviously Twitter, about this chart right here, which is incredible. If you look at this pattern, I have it going back. I zoomed in on this chart, but it actually goes all the way back to the SEC crash when that SEC lawsuit came in right there at the end of 2020. and taking from there to the apex is about 2.22 years. So I thought that was incredible that we are really coiling up in this, and it's about to move. It really is about to make its explosive move. And I'm not calling for anything insane. I'm not saying it's going to go to $3 or $30. Just what I've been talking about over the last 6 months or so about the automatic rally. I'll be getting into that a little bit in the TA section. But if you guys like these updates, definitely go ahead over to Twitter and follow this account. All the other accounts are scammers. So let's get back into it. I want to get to some of these dates because it's important. We have a lot to go over today. Here we are. Today is the 19th, but tomorrow is the spring equinox. I've talked about this a couple of times, but just to get into some of the code behind vernal equinox and spring equinox. So just see how vernal equinox adds up to 52 and spring equinox adds up to 52. And that also matches you in the same cipher to cryptocurrency, 52. So it's important, guys. This is all coded in, and that 52 is everything when it comes to crypto. 25 and 52. Now, why is this so significant? Because we're in the year of the rabbit, and rabbit gives you that 5225, perfectly tied back to cryptocurrency. So another key thing to mention about March 20th tomorrow is it's the 79th day of the year. The 79th element on the periodic table is gold, again tied to currency, which is tied to the sun. All right. Definitely something to consider here. And this will also be tied to the last day of Jubilee, which will be Sunday. As I just told you, gold is tied to the sun. Sunday, September 17th, last day of Rosh Hashanah, last day of Jubilee, and you could see that is 181 days, and that 181 is your 42nd prime number. You can see right here that this standard date numerology is 24, so you have 42, 24, as above, so below. Now, the new moon will be on the 21st. You can see that right there, and the 21st just sandwiched right in between the following day, which will be Wednesday, March 22nd of 2023, the day that the Federal Reserve will be speaking. It's a very important Fed meeting. And this is a palindrome date. You could see it clearly, 3-2-2-2-2-3. Very powerful number sequence we're getting here. And obviously, this is once in a lifetime kind of numerology that you're seeing. So definitely very important. Another thing to bring up is the fact that this March 22nd day is the 81st day of the year. That 81 ties us back to Venus. And as I was saying before, Venus tied to the rabbit in my rabbit year of the rabbit decoded video. We could see that 81 and also that 25, that mirror of 52, 25 tied back to rabbit. But where we're also seeing the 25 in the Chaldean is just crypto right there, tied back to 25 with Venus. Freya Day, which is a Friday, Venus being Aphrodite, April. April is April, which is the month we're moving into very, very soon. So you have this 3-2-2 connection. 81 is also 9 squared. So it's 9 nines, and 9 is the number of everything. So it's a very, very powerful number, of course. So looking back at this, you could also see there's a big connection to March 22nd connected to the solar eclipse by 4 weeks and 1 day. So let me just show you that really quickly. You got 4/20 right here, and you can see April 20th to March 22nd, 4 weeks, 1 day. Wait 1 second. Excuse me, just needed to take a moment right there. But getting back to this, 4 weeks and 1 day, and I want to show you how March 22nd is a 14 date numerology, and there's a bunch of these connections we're going to be getting into with the number 14 in a second, so remember this, because we're going to be decoding fully this March 22nd date right now. I'm putting more emphasis on this than usual solely because we have that Fed meeting coming up at this critical time. It's funny how I'm talking about that at the 14th minute of this video, but really quickly, let me just show you this big connection here with March 22nd, 14 date numerology connected to April 20th, 4 weeks and 1 day. And then I'm going to tie it back to Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday. You can see same date connected to 4-5, and that is your 14-day span. So we got a 14, the last connection I was showing you was a 14. So many 14s. And here's where we wrap it all up. All right, this will be happening in the 14th week of the year. So you can see week 14, April 3rd through April 9th. Satoshi's birthday is during that 14th week in the Gregorian system. That is mind-blowing. That is 14 connections on one single date. You can't make this stuff up. Now let's make more sense of why on this date. Well, it's a Mercury day, Wednesday, which is miércoles, which is Mercury, which is also Hermes. And look right here how we have that 68 in double-digit date numerology. Well, Hermes gives you that 68. This is all coded in, all right? So the fact that this is about Mercury, remember, I'm going to go esoteric here. Mercury is the god of fiat money. It's the ruler of fiat, money created out of thin air, which is what the Federal Reserve is. The Federal Reserve System and all globalist systems focus on two main symbols, and their symbols are symbols tied to Jupiter or symbols tied to Mercury, Hermes. So all of this so-called money that we use right now, this paper money, coins, this is all Hermes. This is all Mercury. Now, he's the ruler of fiat, okay? So you could see that 14 date numerology, all of these 14s, and fiat by the code is 14 in Chaldean. Remember this, all right? What do? They're money printing. They're printing money. Money printing equals 179. 179 is your 41st prime number, the mirror of 14. Just like I was showing you before how between March 22nd and the solar eclipse will be 4 weeks and 1 day. Massive. Now, remember, the number 14 itself is simply just 7 plus 7. It is 2 sevens. This ties back to the RAM. The RAM is 7 in Chaldean. We have RAM even equals 14 in full reduction. This RAM is Aries. This is the mythological god. The 43 is the 14th prime number. All right. Now, why this all matters is because we're moving into Aries in the tropical system. Okay. So let's just quickly show you that with the Zodiac. You have Aries, and you could see March 22nd. That's the day it starts. On the day that the Federal Reserve speaks, this Wednesday, which is the day of Mercury tied to Hermes. This is absolutely amazing how this is all coded in. So just remember this tie back to Aries, the Ram, and Ram backwards is Mar, which is March, which is Mars. Aries is Mars, ruled by Mars, but that's all it is. It's just Mars. And Mare is sea, ocean, sea, currency. This type of money tied to Mars is blood money. It is money that's only happening through the transaction of ritual sacrifice. That's called war. All right? You take the W, you flip it upside down, you have M. War with M is Mar. Think about it. So moving on, we have this Aries connection by the way it's spelled when we're speaking on Zodiac, and this is mind-blowing. You have Aries as 52, 25, and 12. Well, we saw that earlier with Rabbit in the same ciphers, 52, 25, 12. And look at how Rabbit equals 110, and the day of the solar eclipse is the 110th day of the year. Insane. All right, all of this code is insane. Now, just consider this. We have this 47, that's the 15th prime, and that is moving you through that transition week, into the actual date of the eclipse. So you can see right here, 15th week is April 10th through April 16th. That is right there into that solar eclipse week. That week right here is also one of the most important ritual weeks in history. It's not going to be this year as much as it is going to be next year. And I've talked about that with the sinking of the Titanic, with the Boston Marathon bombing, with the Notre Dame fire, the day in 2021 with the most C19 cases. There's so many of these events that were happening on that April 14th, April 15th pivot, and it's during that 15th week of the year. And that is an unlucky number most of the time. All of last year, it was an unlucky number. Okay, so quickly, just because we were talking about Aries before, how it's perfectly into the 12th week of the year, matching the Chaldean cipher of 12 with Rabbit with 12. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to look at the dates, and you can see it's starting on March 22nd in the tropical system, and March 22nd is during the 12th week of the year, all giving me 12 in Chaldean. It's very important you see this code. Now, Aries ends into the 16th week of the year, which is on the exact date of the solar eclipse. And you can see that right there. It ends on April 20th, which is your solar eclipse date. And solar even equals 16. You could see that right there. And I'm talking about the 16th week of the year, which is the week where we'll have that solar eclipse and the transition out of Aries into Taurus. And solar equals 16 and solar eclipse equals 53, which is the 16th prime number. And now thinking about this, another connection, since we're getting solar eclipse with that 44, it's reminding me that if we connect this date to the lunar eclipse of May 5th, it equals 44 days. Again, more code revealing itself in the importance of all of this. And do you see that? How May 5th has a 53 date numerology? 16th prime. Once you start decoding like this, family, you're going to see a lot of it reveal itself to you if you just pay attention to these nuances. So we know that right now we are in new moon energy. We are around here in the new moon, 2 days away from it. It's it's the 19th today. So yeah, exactly. We're 2 days out. So we're currently in that new moon energy, and the next full moon is on April 6th. So the full moon in Libra, if you're doing lunar astrology, and Libra is ruled by Venus. Again, another connection to this year of the rabbit, because the rabbit being both a sign of Venus and the moon. When you go back and watch my rabbit decoded, year of the rabbit decoded, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, and last thing to mention for those that are into sidereal, will be in tropical Aries around this time, but still in Pisces and sidereal. So I'm just talking about that full moon that's coming up on April 6th. We'll be in tropical Aries, but still in Pisces and sidereal. A little bit confusing, but those of you that are astrologers or know about this, then this is all kind of making a lot of sense to you as we're pivoting energy out into that solar eclipse. And it's a very, very critical time between then and the May 5th lunar eclipse, specifically because that May 5th lunar eclipse will be a blood moon eclipse. And it is a 52-year cycle between Venus and the sun solar return. That is 52-year cycle. And I was just talking about how we're in the year of the rabbit, where we have that 52. And that brings this decode full circle. So I'll end on this. The focus right now is all eyes on the solar eclipse. That is everything for this crypto market. That is the transition into the solar cycle, which will last until March of 2025. Again, we were just talking about the 25 and the 52. So it does not surprise me that the next bull run will pretty much be ending into the year of 2024 into early 2025. No later than out of Q1 of 2025. So that's almost 2 years. We will be from April 20th next month until March 2025, 2-year solar cycle. We're currently in the tail end of this lunar cycle, which is when we see Bitcoin in a downtrend. Now, I guess I can make a short decode on all of this soon to just clarify some things, but Anyways, my focus in the short term, and this is not financial advice, I am not a financial advisor, but my focus in the short term is de-risking my portfolio during this energy up into the solar eclipse on April 20th, the new moon. So during this phase right here that I'm calling automatic rally, I am not trying to time it perfectly because remember, I shared with you in the last iteration of this automatic rally, going back, I'll actually pull it up here because it might be easier to talk about for everyone. So this was the last iteration of a bull run bear market automatic rally cycle. You have your all-time high, your selling climax, and then your AR. And I was saying that we were essentially in this energy right here a couple weeks ago, and that we were pull back and then moving right back up. So this is kind of that moment right there. You could compare it to this. Of course, it is not identical, but we're seeing that the energy is identical. That's all that matters. Now, the amount that we move up is up to debate because we can see right here on this last iteration, we got to the top of the golden pocket. That's very extreme. I'm not saying that that could happen again. That's very, very extreme. And remember, back then, we didn't have Jubilee. We didn't have all of the shit going on in the economy the way we have today. So it's just a similar energy, but I can't match percentages. It would not be sophisticated to do such. We can see in this iteration, this was also during a Shemitah, which would be more likely similar to what we're going through today in the last 3 years or so, where on this automatic rally phase, we got to the bottom of the golden pocket and we actually hung out there sideways for a while. We were sideways for an additional 200 days. Okay, so that would be like in this moment here, if we made it up somewhere between 37,000 and 40,000, that would be a similar push if we were to copy cycles. Now, not getting into the golden pocket and getting rejected, and you see how harsh and quick this rejection was. Bitcoin literally went to lose 41% of its value in a week. I don't think we're going to be as volatile as back in 2015, but it shows you how dramatic and how quick this rally of the automatic rally is. Look at how sharp that was. And then you could see it right here on this final leg up. Bitcoin just raged, an additional 90% over 2 weeks. So we lose our volatility as time goes on. And I like using these fibs this way because I feel they're extremely helpful. Let me just make sure 100% that they're all matched. I want this setting turned on all of them to not be, okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that I'm across the board on the same settings. Beautiful. Okay, so all this says to me is above 32K, we can sharply move into 40 in like a single day or 2 or 3 days. Having your limit orders set is important, very, very important at this time. And you can see my automatic rally dotted line is coming in at 33K. And that's the reason why, because that is the 0.5 fib. You don't want to mess around above the 0.5 fib, especially with something like Bitcoin. Now with altcoins, it could smash through the 0.5 fib into the 702 in a couple of hours. Bitcoin maybe 2 or 3 days. It takes time. We say it takes time when you're looking at like the stock market. That would be like 2 weeks. What Bitcoin does in 2 days, what altcoins do in 2 hours, right? So I am looking to that area as an important area to start paying a lot of attention to de-risking. If we start to get above this 0.5 fib at 33K, then obviously we are in automatic rally and we're entering the finality of automatic rally. Now, I have these yellow lines up here at 44K to 48. That would be a very dramatic move. I don't think we're going to be doing that. So far, the lower high in the macro structure is 48K. I don't think we're going to get above that. The reason that is mapped out is because this is a long-term, all phases Wyckoff reaccumulation. So when we get above 48K, that's basically a sign that we're going into price discovery. Okay? So I don't see that happening until phase E, which would be, not even worth talking about right now. In the short term, we could be moving up quickly. As quick as we could fall down is as quick as we can move up. And that 33K territory means a lot for Bitcoin. Capturing that, holding that for a little bit, And if we were to have a similar iteration to the 2014 cycle, you see how when we got rejected off this lower area of the golden pocket, we came back down to the 382 fib just sharply, but then we snaked around the 0.5 fib for a while. What I would assume in today's charts is this would be the same thing, but at the 382 fib. So it would be like Bitcoin coming down into the area that we're trading now between, let's just say 22K and 27K. That would be a very, very healthy move down for Bitcoin. And if it could hold those levels, if it could hold this 236 fib, then we might not have a spring. So this is why I want to get into this next two decodes I'm going to release, the one about May and then the one about October, because I want to share a couple of scenarios with people. One scenario could be the altcoin market washing out, 20,000 plus altcoins pretty much going away, and maybe 50 to 150 of them stay. And out of those 150 that stay, I think even some of those will be on the chopping block when it comes to regulation. But what this event could do is flood a lot of this nonsense fairy dust liquidity out of those shit coins and into things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance. I don't want to debate on what the exact coins that'll be the ones that won't be sacrificed, but I think you guys have a good idea so far that it's clearly Bitcoin, Ethereum, the ISO 222 compliant tokens. Anyone who argues Bitcoin and Ethereum is absolutely asleep. I mean, we don't even have to get into that anymore at this point. It just is what it is. I will be getting really deep into the mythological breakdown of what Bitcoin is and what Satoshi is in my decoding mastermind when that comes out in about 3 or 4 months. But until then, I don't think we need to prove anymore that Bitcoin is the power plant of this market. And if the power plant goes down, it all goes down. It'll be like a volcano erupting in a town. You lose your oxygen, all the plants die. There's nothing to live on anymore. You got to pack up and move to a new place. And there is no new place in this market because that new place has already been laid out. The infrastructure has been designed and it's ready to go. And it's called CBDCs. So this is really a time to become conscious to all of this and to not be so maximalist on anything. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I'm not an XRP army, whatever. I don't care about any of that tribalism stuff. I'm here to protect my wealth and to grow my wealth and to do it with skills and through self-reliance and sovereignty. And I don't care about the dramatic opinions of what people have on Tether and all of that stuff. It's just a psyop to me at this point. Seeing clearly right now is the most important thing when it comes to developing an investment thesis and taking action on an investment thesis. And I know that might sound very spicy, but it's the words that need to be shared. So we're in a market right now at these final moments, and that's why for me, it's all about de-risking as much as I can, and then I will adjust what I do later on when we get into targets that I feel are more reasonable, because I got to admit a lot of this crypto market is overinflated still. I don't think Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and some of the ISOs are, but a lot of it is. I still think a lot of it should go to zero. Okay, so let's get into some of the actual TA on Bitcoin. I just wanted to go over this Wyckoff schematic for you guys real quick. Okay, so you can see very clearly that Bitcoin is now above the 382 fib. That is a really important sign. And you could also see, look at this. I'm going to turn everything off. Look at how Bitcoin has broken this 25K, but ETH is still holding back. It has yet to break 2K. Technically, ETH should be at 2,400 right now if it was equivocal to Bitcoin. But what do I teach you guys? I teach you guys that Bitcoin dominance is everything. Wow, 40. Oh man, I haven't looked at this in a while. Whew, this slammed through my target of 45. I've been talking about a rally on Bitcoin dominance at this phase, and here we are. I should start looking at it more. The reason I don't look at it as much is because it's not really the biggest, most important thing, because theoretically what I shared is correct. It's that Bitcoin leads these rallies. And yeah, we've already conquered that measured move. Let me do a very dramatic pull and see where we're at with this. Yeah, we're even above that, and it's still rallying onto new highs. And these are 2-day candles, by the way. Whew, look at that straight line breakout. Oh yeah. This is a sign, clear as day. We could be seeing a 30K Bitcoin before we even see a $2,000 ETH. But when Bitcoin gets into those 30, 32, 33K levels, that's when we'll start to see some of these alts break through their horizontal resistances. Anyways, getting back to the Bitcoin chart. All right. So you can see right here, I just have this solar eclipse mapped out, and the money symbol right here, just between that 0.5 and 618 conservative levels. I would personally be putting sell limit orders in around 34, 36, 38, probably 40, and just keep it at that. Or you could break it into 5 sell orders. I do a very similar thing when I'm buying. I buy in 5s, I sell in 5s, and if I get better prices after my 5th investment, if I have more to, to deploy, more fiat on the sidelines, I take action. It's just kind of my style. I'll never do less than 5 buy-ins, unless it's a very venture capital style play, like what I did with Stellar Lumens or something. So this back test that we're getting and this breakout that we are seeing right now is showing me that 25K will be a very important level in the future. That's why I'm going to leave that line right there. And then 20K is clear because that was a very dramatic swing we got right here between 25 and 20. So for the downside, that 25 to 20 with that 236 sandwiched in the middle is something that'll be very, very important in the future after the end of the automatic rally. Hence why I'm keeping those trend lines there. I think they're very important. Now, let me look at some things. First and foremost, I'm just going to go to the bi-weekly and see what's up and turn off all this noise. Wow, this is looking really good. Okay, so bi-weekly comes in next week. This is amazing looking. This candle right there is amazing looking. That's like here. Same energy because you have all this horizontal resistance. You're just blasting through it. This would actually be more comparative to around right here, 33. But the problem is the cycles are just getting less volatile over time. Whew, look at that weekly candle, 24%, bro. This is, and look, we're only at fucking 64 RSI. This has a lot of room. Yeah, I suppose we won't see weekly RSI above 80. I don't think we will, but we could on this week see this jump to 70 just because of how big this green candle was in a single week. Let me look at some indicators. Whew, that's so important. Okay, look, we've slammed through. This is the most important thing I'm sharing right now. The fact that this cross is going to come in soon. So we have right now the 8 simple moving average, which is this yellow moving average, is that 23,500. And we have the white moving average, which is the 55 simple moving average at 25, basically 25,000 on the nose. If this 8 simple moving average crosses over that 55, that is a wolf cross. And the last time we've had a bullish wolf cross in this market was over 1,000 days ago. Fuck. Okay, actually, let's look at it according to where we are in the cycle. I think that's much more fair. You could see right here, we have a bearish wolf cross. It's moving to the downside. Wolf cross with downside implied is really what I should say. That happened right here. That was a big sign. And the fact that we slid down into support and then got rejected off the 55, that was a sign of GTFO. Okay, we have a wolf cross to the downside. We come up to the 55, get rejected off the 55, GTFO. Like, get out of this market. This now we can confirm, but we didn't have these cycles. Like, we didn't have all this data in the future. You know, we only have a couple iterations of it, so it's really just not fair. But one second. We're seeing this right here. It's very important to get out of this market when we get this white crossed by the yellow on the weekly. It's every single time. You could see it right there back in 2014, continue into the selling climax. You see it right here in 2018, down into the selling climax. You see it right here in 2022, down into the selling climax. It's a very important indicator. Now, look at what happened when we got it to the upside in the last automatic rally. Off of that, we saw Bitcoin go up 150%. In short order, we went up technically off that cross for the next 40 days up 100 and let's just call it 100%. That cross is about to happen at the same part of the market cycle. If we were to look at it back here in 2015, you see where it was. It was perfectly on that automatic rally. Let me show you what it would look like on a daily. You see this moment right here? This is 2013 to 2017. This moment right here is this, right there. That was where that wolf cross happened, which is exactly what it was here, which is exactly what it looks like it's about to happen here. The wolf cross that I teach is so damn powerful, especially when you look at it on the macro. So I know a lot of people, they like to have fun with like these 1 hour candles and like 2 hour. It's like, it's cool and all, but like, unless you're really like trading actively, you're wasting your time on those. You really want to zoom out sometimes, especially when you're only paying attention to less than 4 hours and you start to get confused or you start to make calls that are very emotional. This is everything right here, the fact that we could be getting this cross. Now, let's look at the last iteration, because in 2014, when we got that cross, we never back tested the 55 simple ever again. In this cycle, I think we will test it again. And that is a very critical area to look for in the end of the automatic rally. So judging where it's at today, it's sitting around 25K. Remember what I said earlier, that 25K to 20K area in between the 236 fib is very important. Let me see if I could show you. Yeah, okay, this doesn't look that bad, but you could see this white moving average. It's sitting there right at 25K, right where I have that yellow ray. That could be the return territory for us. And the only reason we saw, let me turn that back on. The only reason we saw this moment right here was a black swan event, which was the C19 crash, and that was short-lived. We were literally under this cross for only a couple of months, from March to May. That's nothing, guys. That was a black swan, and it was a V-shaped recovery. And look what happened. We got right back above that 55 simple moving average, traded on top of it for about 8 or 9 weeks, and then we rallied into price discovery. The 55 on the weekly is so important, okay? So really want to pay attention to that. And this cross that we're getting, it's undeniable. Very powerful cross. That's this weekly, by the way. Look at this 5-day chart. Incredible. So we got the 5-day wolf cross. We can see right here, after we got rejected off 25K, we back tested the 55 on the 5-day, perfect bounce with closures above it. And now we're closing back above the 8 moving average. We'll have our next 5-day closure on the 21st. And this looks insane. It looks very good. All moving averages on the 5-day are in bullish posture. We have the 8 above the 13, above the 21, above the 34, above the 55. This is bullish. This is insanely bullish. I don't know what other way to say it at this point. The 3-day chart, same back test on the 55, perfect bounce out of it, close above the 8, continuation. This is everything I teach. Okay, well, what's really important about this is tonight is not only a weekly close, it's a 3-day close, and we're above the topside Bollinger Band on the 3-day. The last time we got above the topside Bollinger Band on the 3-day, we continued above it for about 5 3-day candles in a row. So that would be 15 days, 2 weeks. Think about this, guys. So this is a very important closure for tonight. The topside band is 26,200. We're at 27,500. We're $1,000 above that. Same story on the 2-day. Oh, and also this is really critical. We're seeing the bottom side Bollinger Band expand, cutting through the 55 simple moving average on the 2-day. So that's another sign of we are expanding, we are volatile, but we're volatile because we were boring and sideways. This is a necessary time to be volatile. After too much sideways, too much boredom, too much fear on the fear and greed index, etc. This looks gorgeous. I don't know what more to say, man. Daily chart looks gorgeous. 8 above the 13, above the 21, above the 34, above the 55. Show me something bearish about this. I just can't. I mean, the only thing that's troublesome is the fact that we have this cluster right here of the last highs for about 1 month, all between 32 and 28, and we've traded close to 28. This is why 32K is so important, guys, because it is that 0.5 fib. Getting above that area right there, if you see the cluster of trading and this area, that is important, and I'm not expecting too much more over 33. I mean, maybe 40K, maybe 42, who knows? But like, you're splitting hairs between these 1K differences in Bitcoin. All right. So I just want to let everyone know, like, we're at the final moments, and this is everything that we've predicted. I don't like using that word, but just for semantics at this point, it's everything we anticipated. It's a better word to say. So keep your eyes on 33, 32K Bitcoin. Getting above that on daily closes is massive. But the fact that our weekly and everything else looks the way that it does right now, it's so bullish. We're looking at Ethereum right now. ETH is looking pretty good. Let me see if I turn this off where we're at on the fib, if I pull a bullish fib. Alrighty, well, we're above the 382, so getting above that 0.5, it's the same story as Bitcoin. Same story. Getting above that 0.5 is everything. And we could see maybe the 618 on ETH too. I don't feel super confident above the 618 on ETH right now, unless Bitcoin really does flow liquidity back into ETH. But this is a very key level. And into the 702 is about as good as it usually gets for something especially like ETH. So that'd be around 3K. The highest I would see it going. In the last cycle, we only made it up to the 0.5 fib. So in this iteration, that would be like getting rejected. We got a little over the 0.5 fib right into this. Oh man, this is really important to pay attention to right here. Let me try to find the similarity to today. Look at this right here and look at the top of the automatic rally. You see that yin yang? That happened. That would be like this right here. Oh no, yeah, it's pretty similar. You see this top right here and this back test, it's around 2,180. It's right around there. So it's hard to be perfect because this was a double top, like jagged structure, and this was just one blow off top. You could see how we had a blow off top here, but then we actually did come into one final bull trap before the end of the run. So it's hard to be specific, but I would say above 3,000 is unlikely for ETH. Somewhere around 2,500, that would be a key level to start de-risking most of this. But in the short term, it's the same TA as Bitcoin. It cleared all of this horizontal resistance. It cleared this spike of resistance, and now it's heading into this $2,000 level, which is right below the 0.5 fib. Getting above the 0.5 fib is a key indicator of continuation into the finality of the automatic rally, which doesn't get much higher than the 702 fib. Let's look at XRP because it's kind of starting to wake up a little bit. Not much, but XRP getting above 44 cents is important. So keep that in mind. Until we get above 44 cents, it's not much to really talk about. But then after 44 cents, we could quickly move into about 53. So let me just draw out this line a little bit further, give you an idea. So let me show you this chart. Oh, actually, while I have this on my mind, because I showed this to some people, this is a Bitcoin chart. 1 second. End of the bull run, selling climax. End of this C19 crash. End of the bull run. You can see we actually started to get below this white line. That's not a good thing. Then we started to trade on the outside of it perfectly for about, this looks like longer than a month. Yeah, 2 months. Then we come back into it recently, and now we're breaking through it again. So this was a very long-term resistance, and then we had this yellow resistance line, which I had on touching as many wicks as possible. And all of these wicks right here, even this one that we got back on March 14th, and even lately, we broke through it on the 17th. We back tested it yesterday, and today we could be closing on a continuation candle, on a bullish engulfing candle. So if we're closing above this 27,600 area, that's a very big sign that this back test was a key back test that we got yesterday. Anyways, getting back to the XRP analysis, you could see something very important is going on. This trend line being in place since April 2021, we are coiling up into the finality of it. And if I zoom in, we're looking like pretty damn close. I would just like to clear this daily close high on January 23rd. So that would be about 44 cents. And that would bring us into that structural next level, which is this crown top that we got. But usually we get right to the 382 when we're on automatic rallies. So getting above this 236, which is structural, getting us right to the 382, that would be a party time. Because I think XRP can break through into this 0.5 fib really fast. So you kind of want to pay attention to the 74 cent level into the 110 level. That would be a key, area to consider. At this time, anything above like 140 is very unlikely. I think anything above 140 is unlikely. Even 130 is unlikely. Could we get little wicks into that area like we see right here? Sure. But I'd be paying attention mostly to 110, around that 110 area. That would be a much more sophisticated play because that is using the TA. It's using the fibs properly. And anything above that 110 area is probably not going to last long if it happens. So $1, we could be seeing that $1 XRP, which is something I've been anticipating for a while now. That would be a gain of about, let me see, off these current levels. That would only be 156%. That's not a lot. So yeah, that could be in play. That is a lot of momentum though for how far down it is. So let's take from here out to May, like the beginning of May. That's 37 days. That's fast. It would have to move very, very fast. So having your limit orders in place on this is very, very important. And I would not get super risky. If you have a lot of this stuff and it's over exposed in your portfolio, and I also want to say that I think this could come back to the 236 or even lower at the end of this year into October. So this project is not, I don't think it's out of the woods just yet. I think we need to get into 2024 before we start seeing like real stability in price discovery for XRP. But for this automatic rally, I think it's going to be like this. You see how we just shot up in a straight line, or right here, we just shoot up really quickly with a crown top and then we keel over. If you look, we didn't even make it up to the 0.5 fib on this. Yep, we made it between the 382 and the 0.5, which would be like only getting to around 70 cents. All right. So you want to be careful with this. If you're somebody who is overexposed, and that's where I'll finish my thought on the XRP wisdom. If you're overexposed to this, don't wait for the day that never comes. Don't wait for $1.40 or $1.30. That's silly. I wouldn't be waiting for that. I don't think we're going to break structure, and our structural highs at this time are 130. So think clearly. All right. We have that 702 fib sitting at 110. Getting above that is very, very unlikely. Like we're talking hopium. So I would look to this 93 cents area at best, really between like 85 to 95 or $1.05. That's your area. And don't say I didn't warn you, like if this thing goes dramatically higher, that would be a miracle. But based on the TA, which is what I'm a professional technical analyst, professional trader, and I've been really accurate in seeing how this coin moves over the years, I don't really anticipate anything more glorious than possibly this golden pocket territory. So just keep that in mind, and then we'll move on to icon now. Doing a little bit of a move. All right, so this coin really slid down. This is an interesting chart long term. I'm holding this one out until the next cycle. I have yet to add any more to my bag right now because I'm going to wait until the end of this year to attempt to see where this coin goes. But this is from 2018 to now. And if you look at what's happening, this is an automatic rally in a very macro perspective. So you have buying climax, selling climax, automatic rally, and we could have a spring. But thus far, we've returned back to C19 lows. So this is your C19 crash. We've returned back down to those levels recently. That's not very healthy. That's a sign of weakness, which is a big reason why I've decided to hold off on this project for now, and potentially could accumulate some of it. in the future. 1 second. Okay, so when I think of this as an automatic rally, it tells me that this is a very key level around $3.20, $3.30 for the future, meaning any opportunities here below that 20-cent region is still an amazing, rally of about 2,000%. Hence why I didn't sell any of my icon as of now. I think I traded it a little bit of swing trades back in 2022, but I believe I might have a little bit of it hanging around. I'm just going to hold off on it for now. And if we get into like crazy low territory later in this year, in October, and it doesn't completely just fall through to the bottom, then I'll add a little more, because I could see 1,000%, 2,000% in the making on that final cycle into 2024. So moving on, we have another sign of weakness, which I pulled a bearish fib from this level right there, swing low to swing high, and we broke through the 1618, which is very, very troublesome. This lost a lot of its value. It did what every other altcoin does, which is about a 95% loss. We're holding this 17-cent area now because we can zoom in. We're on the 5-day chart, by the way. We have a W. We broke out of the W. Now we're back testing around the neckline area. And closing a 5-day above that 27 cents will probably be what it takes for us to move into like 42-cent territory. But this isn't looking super healthy to me. Let me just pull a fib, bullish fib, and see what's up. There you go. I mean, really, maybe you get to the 0.5 fib on this boy, maybe 58 cents, but I doubt this one's going to have the juice to make it back to the 702 just because of its macro performance not being that good. So I don't see this getting back to $1 for a while. It's most likely going to be trading in this territory till ETH starts to roll over some of its liquidity. I would assume Bitcoin and the top projects are going to be moving up. Bitcoin going to be the one moving up the most and the quickest. Then as that dominance leaves Bitcoin and goes into ETH, it'll drain out of ETH eventually and then probably affect some of these projects. So consider icon is also tied to the Saturnian symbolism, Saturn energy, which I know Hex is tied to that Saturn energy, and we're moving into the Jupiter year next year. So I'm cautious right now on these Saturn coins. Remember, Bitcoin is not really a Saturn coin. It was created by Saturn. And I have a crazy decode that was inspired by talking with my expansion group coaching my group coaching squad, and we were like really having this philosophical debate over what is Bitcoin. And I have come to some new findings, intuitive findings, and I'm really excited to share it, but I just need to really cross all my T's, dot all my I's, make sure that I'm coming at this in a way that's back tested enough so that when I share it with the world, it's not this like crazy conspiracy, But Satoshi is Saturn. I'm very firm on that. And even after these recent conversations and illuminating moments, I'm still sticking with Satoshi is Saturn. It is Father Time. It is the creator of blockchain. But Bitcoin is almost seeming like an idea, like something bigger than just being a mythology. And that's where it comes back to the sun, or Ra. And as you pay attention to the mythology, like even in the Bible, it says God created the heaven and the earth. God is who, right? And then that goes back to Ra. That goes back to source. Bitcoin is source. And I'm going to break down what connection it has deeper in a future decode. But now with Icon, clearly Saturnian energy, Stellar Lumens has that Saturnian energy in its symbolism. Hex, there's plenty of these coins. Chainlink is another one. So this needs to be considered as we move into that 2024 Jupiter year of the dragon. I don't know. I think Jupiter coins are going to have their time to shine. So we could get into the depth of the gematria on Icon and everything else. But as for the symbolism, this is clear Clear symbolism of Saturn to me. And that could be a reason why it got held back in this run. I don't know. I have to think deeper on this because there's so much to ponder. But long story short, we can see that this coin is suppressed, just as suppressed as a lot of the other OG coins that were in the 2017-2018 cycle. And this automatic rally move right here is similar to where XRP only went up to about $1.96. And if this coin goes up into price discovery in the future, naturally you'd want to look at the 1618, and that would bring it into triple digits. So I don't think it's going to do that solely because we don't have. I would actually look at it like this. That's inaccurate what I just said before. I would look at it like this for like $60. I would look at that in a regular scale. Reasons that I've shared in my courses and in past podcasts. But getting back to it, this is very speculative, very, very speculative stuff, and I would be careful on it. I know it got a lot of votes this week. It's a coin that we used to give some prana to in the past, but as I told you earlier, I'd be holding off on any accumulation into the end of this year. And if I had it and I was exposed to it and I started to see it getting into the 0.5 territory, I would be de-risking at around like 60 to 70 cents. That would be my key area to bounce. Let's move on to ARC. Or no. Let's go to Cardano. That was another one that got a lot of votes this week. All right, Cardano. Let's look at the last cycle. We could see this automatic rally. It only made it into the 236382. Oof. Okay. I'm telling you guys, some of these altcoins don't perform that well. Some of them shine, some of them are dim. It just depends on their symbolism. It depends on what they're connected to. So you can see right here, I have a swing high to swing low pull, and we only made it into like the 382, which in this iteration would be about 60 cents on Cardano. So be careful with this one. If it can make it above that level, that would be really nice. But going off of the fact that we have all of these rejections right here before we went another leg lower, clearly 60 cents is a key area. You could see that wick right there before it went on to lose an additional 60% of its value. Now, if I was to look at this and be open-minded to even more room to the upside, then 76 cents wouldn't confuse me because we have this little dip right here before that rejection at the bottom of the golden pocket. And then I want to look at this. Wow, this has just been a straight downtrend, like very, very awkward. Oh my God, where is this going? It's fucking breaking the chart. Okay, I can't do that. Mamma mia. I have to do it like this, which I don't like to do. Oh my God, what is happening? Sorry, I gotta adjust this because this looks fucked up. Oh, that's why. I was like, oh my God, what's happening, man? Let me adjust the way I wanted it. There we go. Okay, I was doing it right. I just had the setting turned off. That's why it's important you guys double check your settings. We got to the 1618. Gorgeous. That's what I teach. That's what happened. Let me just turn the color back to what I like. All right, so you see we dip below it for a moment. That's okay. I'm going to confirm selling climax here. That's selling climax. Then getting above, back testing the 1618. Once we break 42 cents, which will be the local high, this thing could probably go straight into this 60 to 80 cent area. 60 to 80 cents. So 70 is possible, highly possible. One second. That was the first time I've sneezed in like months. Whew. So anyways, we can see right here that this area of about 68 cents was right below that back test. It's keeping me open-minded to this area now. 60 cents on the other hand, and 80 cents could all happen in a wick because this is a very volatile project. So to de-risk out of that, that would be a very important area. Now let me pull a bullish fib pull. and see where that gets us. Oh, that's beautiful. So what I was just telling you about 60 cents into 80 cents, that's right below your 0.5 fib. So that's about what Ethereum did in the last cycle. It went up, got rejected right into this 0.5 fib area and never made it into the golden pocket. So that increases the accuracy of what I'm saying here about Cardano. I would not really start to anticipate above 90 cents. I would keep my highest selling levels at like 77, 76. I would be more conservative. About 65 to 76, break that up into about 5 orders. And I do want to de-risk this because this is not my favorite project. It's like an unused blockchain. The updates are never on time. Charles Hoskinson is not really anything more than a talking head, like the guy from Tesla, Elon Musk. They're all kind of just talking heads. He's a classic example. I remember this one time he had like an AMA and he was saying, you guys talk about the New World Order. Well, guess what? We are the New World Order. And he was talking about how Cardano's the New World Order. I'm like, are you serious? The people worship this fucking guy. He's just telling you straight to his face what team he plays for. So yeah, I don't care about supporting these guys. It's just money at the end of the day. But when you look at the performance and the chart structure and the way this coin moves, I mean, I might hold a little bag of it just because it has the popularity, and popularity is something you can bet on in the future. But and I also do think it's ISO 222 compliant, but I will wait personally to buy any of it until like October of this year. Just like I was talking about with Icon, and I wouldn't put more than like 5% of my bag in this. Now, I did have Cardano back in the day, and I did make a good investment in it. I bought all right here into these two moves right there. And I believe I was selling around that dollar $50, $70. I might have made a couple of sells at $2, but yeah, it was about 1,400%. So it was a really nice move. But it was at the right place at the right time. You know, they were just pumping fake money into this market. I'm talking about the central banks and the Fed. 1 second, let me just check in on something. I know this is running really late. 1 second, family. I need to wrap this one up soon. I didn't know how long we were going, and I wanted to get as much as I could packed into this episode. Okay, let's just hustle on through. So right now we're looking at this project, and I already shared my upside targets. I shared everything regarding my thesis and theory on it, and I think it's probably been enough information. I can move on for now. And because it's so popular, I know it'll get voted on in like maybe 3 or 4 months. We could recap and cover it again, but pay attention to above that 382 area and that 0.5 fib area. Now we're getting into arc block. Oof. Okay. Wow. This looks like a... Oof, I don't even know. This is the wildest chart. Oh man, look at this. Swings are so dramatic. 1,000% down, 93% up, 300% down, 70% up, 450% down, 85% up. It's like, wow, this is too much. This is a trader's coin. I would not feel too confident holding this, especially on this slide down from 2018. Okay, so pay attention to this. This was around during the first bull run, kinda. It came in late, and it's been just chopping since. I don't even really know where to pull fibs on this thing. It's so ridiculous. Okay, so we're on the macro 236 fib. You can see that we've been trading around it for a long time. I mean, maybe this thing gets to 30 cents, but the fact that Bitcoin is structurally already breaking into the 382 territory, it tells me that this coin is just in la la land, like doing its own thing. I don't know what to make of this besides maybe it's fun to trade. But the chop is not a sophisticated asset. I would never invest in this type of chop. It's too much. It looks like a lie detector test. So I don't have much confidence in this getting back into this golden pocket area at this time, unless it wants to have one of those moments like this where it just explodes up for whatever reason. It's possible. I don't even like, if you can set limit orders on this thing, I would definitely have them in, like especially a project that has this much volatility, this much chop. Now, in the future, this thing could definitely break below 0.5. And this is probably one of those projects that, again, this is the Red Pill podcast. Don't take this shit personally, but this is like one of those projects that I would assume is going to go to zero. Whatever partnerships they have, I mean, honestly, this looks crazy. It's ABT. 741. I know Duke Doobie's listening right now. Drew, check this out, brother. Look at the symbolism too. Holy moly. We got the hexagon. Definitely looks like a spider web to me. That's the blockchain right there. That's chain to the block. That's slavery. That's what this whole logo is about. You got that pyramid in the center too, the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is right there. Yeah, nonsense. This thing is in the 741 too, number tied to Lucifer. Okay, well, we see it here, everyone. Yeah, I don't know if I would ever touch this thing. It's too much chop. Interesting. It looks interesting. I mean, maybe the 0.5 fib, because we have all of these rejections and a lot of these rejections coming in slightly below the 0.5. So that's a nice area to think of. But getting back to the golden pocket, it's possible, because anything's possible in the matrix, but it would probably be more like this, just like a really sharp move and then rejection down. So this is during the slide down of the selling climax for Bitcoin and the automatic rally. If you see where it came to, it was perfect, right below that 786. It's just extended more because I put the all-time macro chart here. In the future though, this thing can drop below five pennies because we can spring. So what this would look like in our last cycle is you have the C19 crash. This thing never went into price discovery. It's been chopping around. You think like Bitcoin went onto a whole new bull run after this thing was still stuck at 30 cents. Right here, Bitcoin was only $13,000. But right here, well, think about what I'm saying, guys. During this moment, Bitcoin was 13,000. During this moment right here, Bitcoin was $69,000. And this thing was down 74% from that level. This is a shit coin. I would never touch this thing. Basura. Just right there, I've proven the example of why. Why would you even, Bitcoin at 13K, Bitcoin at 69K. Just compare pricing and see, like, that was a better, way better investment than holding in on this chop. So I don't know, this thing got a lot of votes. Maybe you guys have some rhyme and reason behind it, but ranked 741, number tied to Lucifer, clearly has been on a sideways consolidation. This is worse performance when you look at the chart structure over that 1,800 days compared to XRP. And this thing is just like, ugh. It performed horribly during the post C19 era where everything was going up. Like, I mean, it was like monkeys playing darts. You could have put money in anything and done pretty well. That's why I don't even, like, when I was talking about the 1,400% gain in Cardano, I don't even like take any praise for that. I don't care, because it's like anyone was doing that back then. It was not that big of a deal, honestly, if you were just in the right place at the right time. So yeah. The only reason I'm talking about this for the length of time that I am is because I want to teach you guys what to not invest in. Like, this is the kind of stuff that really, like, you just got to look at the charts. The charts don't lie. This is ugly. And it's really not the best place to put your money. Okay, so we're on Nervous Network. So you have your C19 crash, you have your SOS, you have your backup phase, and this thing went into price discovery. The last thing didn't. This thing went on from its like horizontal test up 1,000%. So yeah, I mean, this just shows you the differences. This is Bitcoin at 69,000, Bitcoin at 63,000. That other token was trading like where it is right here. Like, what? Insane. So let's analyze what's going on here. We lost 95%, very typical. That's what all coins do. Let's pull a bearish fib. Okay, we got to the 618. We got a touch. We traded around it, blasted through it. So that's the selling climax confirmed. Now let's pull a bullish fib and see what's up. Okay, we got rejected off the 382. That's not looking so good. So there's a ton of volatility in this thing. I'm assuming the market cap is very low. It's trading less than a penny. So the move up into the 0.5 fib would be about as good as it gets. I think it can make it to 1 penny. After 1 penny, it's unlikely. But because of the volatile nature of these projects, they could make it to the bottom of the golden pocket and maybe as high as the 702. But again, that's just a lower high. It would keel over and it could come below this level right here. So we can see a touch down at 002. And then recently we got a touch at exactly 002. Into October of this year, we can see that break down further into a spring, like a really, really bad, even to zero. So I would be looking to de-risk stuff like this. This is really, really speculative stuff. Be careful with it. Not much more to say though. Now, lastly, we're on Ethereum. Now, I can't talk too much about this because I have no chart data. But what I will say is we have at least about 200 and something days. I just have no cycles to utilize. So it's unfortunate that I don't have those cycles to use. But clearly we could see an example of upside price discovery where we have a swing high to swing low fib pull. We broke into the golden pocket. Once we got above into a break of new all-time high, we back tested the top of the 786, the top of the golden pocket. That's very, very normal. We went up again, a little bit of a fake out, but what I like is this W that it formed. It formed this really awkward looking W, mostly because it's an altcoin. If it was a higher market cap project, it would have a cleaner W, but you can see this W is playing around at the 702 fib, which is what I teach. You have 3 touch points at the 702, bounce, rejection, and then about 5 touch points at the 702, bounce, continuation, and you went straight into the 1618. So now let's look at this, and you're going to see some things going on with RSI. So we can see that RSI is just continuing to plant lower highs while the price going back to here is on higher highs. We're getting a divergence, and this is a bearish divergence, and I don't know how much longer this coin can last on its rally, but if we were to change this to a linear scale, you're going to see a little bit more what could happen. Now that would be about your 4236. So at best, maybe this thing makes it up into about 15 cents at the finality of the automatic rally. Question people might be asking now is where to expect this to return back to. So if it can make it up to about here, about 14, 15 cents, the rejection back down would be somewhere around the 236 fib, which would be 2 cents. That's a pretty dramatic loss. Now, I'm aware that this is a partner with FedNow Services, the Federal Reserve. I don't know how confirmed all of that is, but I've heard a little bit, and I'll leave it at that. How about you guys add a little bit in the comment section, more data, more proof behind what this project is. And I'm really intrigued. I think it's super interesting. As we're filming this podcast right now, I think Bitcoin is breaking into 28,000. So that's a perfect place to wrap it up. I'm seeing on some charts, we're getting pretty damn close. So we've entered a new higher high in the structure over the last 3 days. Share some information with me in the comment section about Ethereum or inside of our Discord. Again, I'm wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day in the Matrix, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I tried to fill it with as much as possible for you guys. I really care about you so much. I'm so grateful for this community. Cheers to 2 years, and I'll have that new Sell in May Walk Away Decoded video available for everyone here next week. Much love.